Thomas Edison said 7 words. Discontent is the first necessity of progress. Walter was a caretaker of a little white church in St. Jacob's Corners. He had an incredible discontent, and that caused the progress in his life to change. Mr. Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, and very welcome guests. Walter wasn't just a caretaker of a little church at St. Augustine. His desire was to be a deacon of that church, but it was just a wish. All week, Walter and Father McGregor made detailed preparations of the Sunday service yet to come. The pair were inseparable. They were brothers. Walter evaluated the pastor's sermon, giving him advice. Just his opinion, of course. He'd say things like, "Father, maybe you shouldn't bang the gavel on the pulpit so loud. You're going to wake up half the congregation." In Father McGregor's words, the church was tickety-boo, the sermon was evaluated properly, and then they'd have a drink of brandy on a Saturday afternoon. And then Walter would go home to the North Forks of St. Jacob's, to his little stone cottage, to be met by his wife Anna. Walter felt blessed. He felt loved. He loved his church, he loved his wife Anna, and he loved life. He claimed, "My boss is in heaven, and I go home at night to a sweet little angel." Father McGregor often spoke of his nephew, Paddy McGregor, who is on his way to becoming a priest. Walter and Anna used to entertain him when he'd take his summer holidays at the cottage. And he was as though it was a son that they never had. Father McGregor passed away in the 19th year as a pastor at St. Augustine's. And the new pastor was temporary. But he was a 20-year veteran in the army. He insisted on being called Padre, and sometimes Major. He didn't speak of love and God's mercy. He spoke of fear of God, of hellfire. He treated Walter as an employee, not as a friend. The new days found Walter lonely. He missed the old father, and he worked alone and silently. On Saturday, he wasn't invited to the office. He was summoned to the office. The Padre wasted no time. Searching the files and records, I find that you don't have an application, a record of any sort. What you'll have to do before you leave here today is fill out this application for me. I have to know more about you. Walter, somewhat chagrined, said, "Sir, I don't read or write." Padre looked over his glasses and said, "That makes the rest of this encounter redundant. If you can't read or write, you're against the rules of the church, of the diocese. There are standards of education." Padre paused and said, "I have to dismiss you." He said it coldly. Walter was hurt. Have you ever hurt so bad you've got an emptiness inside your stomach, in the pit of your stomach? Empty feeling that somebody just kicked you right in the guts? That's the way Walter felt. He's never hurt so badly. He left the church with tears in his eyes and a lump in his throat and wandered aimlessly. He recounted the days when him and Father McGregor would get into trying moments where they had to think about things he'd have a cigar. Where did he get them? He walked towards the North Forks, and there was no cigar store there. He was over an hour. He walked, and he still didn't find one. He got to the cottage, the little stone cottage that he lived at, and Anna met him, and he encountered the news of the day. And he said, Anna, we're going to take our meager savings and we're going to invest in a small cigar store and maybe a newsstand. He did so. And it got bigger, and it grew, and it grew. Soon they had to get a penthouse in the city to accommodate all the visitors, the accountants, the lawyers, the business people. He was sitting at his desk, and Maria entered his office. It was a messenger, clearly marked with Walter's name on it. Walter had to sign for it. He carefully wrote his name. What he had done, in the absence of the work that he had to do because he was so successful, he hired a tutor, and he learned how to read and write. The messenger gave him the envelope. And he saw how he carefully wrote his name. And the messenger said, quizzically, no, Walter said, I can't read and write. I can see the look in your face. The messenger said, if you can't read and write, imagine if you could. You've amassed all this fortune. Where would you be today if you could? I'd be the deacon of a little church. He opened up the letter and he looked inside, and there was a letter from Father McGregor, Father McGregor's nephew. And what it did was answer a handwritten application. The bishop's comment was there. It said, welcome back to St. Augustine's Church, and I look forward to you being the deacon eventually of St. Augustine's. Mr. Chair.